And I didn't do it as my primary sport. I was a ski racer. I ski raced till I was 28. Uh, I was never the best. Um, my nephew is now one of the top three slalom skiers in the world. His name is Atle McGrath from Norway.
Mm.
And he won the silver medal in the world championships last winter. And I remember that my father ran a marathon when I was 20 years old. And one day we went out and just ran a 20-mile run at an 8-minute pace, and I wasn't even training.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I could do stuff. And I ran like a 72-minute half marathon when I was 20 years old, which was like pretty quick. It was like 5:45 or 5:50 pace. So, I was pretty decent. I ran a 4:29 mile in high school, but I mean, compare that, it wasn't elite. It was like,
Right.
and I didn't do it as my primary sport. I was a ski racer. Now, my younger brother, Bill McGrath, he was 6'3", 150 pounds of sinuous muscle. And that guy ran a sub 4-minute mile in college and finished third in the NCAA cross country championships as the leader of the University of Vermont cross country team. He was a natural born runner. But, I still was okay. Like, I think I finished like in 17th place my senior year in the New England cross country running champion. But I still race in the Masters. In the winter, I race slalom and I finish, pretty much at the top. I'm very good still. I have quick twitch muscles. The problem with skiing, the problem with every sport, is I can't improve at the age of 65. But because I got injured running when I was 20 and I ended up pulling my Achilles tendons, and for 30 years I couldn't run, I didn't run until I was 57. And so I didn't run for 37 years. First 3 years, I really didn't think too much about it. And then about 3 years ago, well, it was maybe 2.5, I came across your 9-mile marathon program. I had seen these people who train for the marathon. They run 60 miles a week. They have to do these 20-mile runs before the race, which just are debilitating. They just suck the life out of these people. And everybody looks gaunt and exhausted. I don't want to run 60 miles a week, and I don't want to run 20 miles. And so when I saw the 9-mile thing, I'm like, that's kind of intriguing. So when I found out that what you're supposed to do here is a lot less miles, you only run 9, but you do it at a higher heart rate, you do it at a reasonable intensity, that made sense to me. And I ran my first marathon with Marlies as my coach. I had not yet gotten back to the level that I had been running in pace prior to the injury. But I did believe that if I went out and I ran a very conservative marathon in which I went out slow and then I did a negative pace on the second half, that I could finish a marathon at a reasonable pace. And that's exactly what happened. I ran a 4:23. Training here in Maine in the winter, it's a little catch as catch can. Because it rains, it snows, or it's windy, or it's 30 below. So, training in the winter here is inconsistent. And I did train over the winter, and I ran one in the spring that was a 4:03. That was my third, but that one was a mess. There'd been a hurricane the day before, and we had to take our shoes off in the middle of the marathon and walk across this pond. And there was this heavy wind, and most of the run was in sand because all the sand had washed onto the track. And then my watch GPS disconnected, so I didn't know where I was. And so I saw a pace keeper in front of me, and I chased him. And then at mile 16, I realized that he was the 3:30 pacer, not the 4-hour pacer. And so then the last 4 miles of that race, I just collapsed, and I barely made it home. So, I was at a 3:35 pace through 18 miles. And then I ultimately ran a 4:03. It was a disaster. However, now with joining up with Centathon and doing the Boz's thing, I've dropped another 5-6 pounds. I'm down under 160. I got my ketones up, and I am running faster. This year I have broken every single PR since I started.
Yeah.
A quarter
Yeah.
mile to a half marathon to a
Wow.
full marathon, my fastest of any single in every single category.
On top of that, Rob, your back hip issue, lower back issue, is also something I don't hear a lot about anymore. I don't hear you complain.
It's managed.
It's manageable, so that's good. And you're doing your strength training the way we like it. So you're really working on your strength training. You're consistent. So that pays off, all this. And it's amazing the progress are making still.
And
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the plyometrics.
Mm.
There's no doubt that if you get really strong and if you can jump and leap and are quick and powerful, you run faster.
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely something like the plyometrics that I think there's not enough emphasis on that, and that's basically because of the power, not just the strength, but also the power, the strength in a very short duration. And as we are getting older, I feel like we are not training that anymore, like jumping and very simple things like box jumping or burpees are good because you have to go down and push yourself up quickly, and
Rope jumping.
rope jumping, all these things. And I know, well, you liked in particular that part of trainings, right?
I do. Your plyometric routine is fantastic. I actually do it as the warm-up, if you will, to my regular 1 hour weightlifting routine.
Yeah.
Because yours is kind of a HIIT, HIIT.
It is.
You get your heart rate going, you're moving around.
Yeah.
Because when I do the weightlifting, my heart rate goes up a little bit, but that's the more traditional 3 sets where you go, you do shoulder, then you do chest, then you do back, then you do legs, and you don't actually do a HIIT with that.
Right.
That's more just power. And so I like doing the plyos, your plyo, for about 45 minutes, and then I go do my hour of the weights, and that ends up being about the same amount of time as a normal 9-mile run.
But that has been a concern I know from the time when you worked with Marlies in the beginning, that has always been a big concern. But now I think it's really manageable.
Oh, yeah.
The way you do. And do you think that because with Centathon we look at the weight and the nutrition and the ketosis and the GKI and the autophagy and the kind of concepts, do you think they work for you? Do you think they have also added to it?
Yeah, well, I mean, so I'm a big believer in the ketone things, because I can tell when I have too many carbos in my system, I'm just not as powerful. I'm like, when I'm protein based and I'm going lean is the way to go. Being lean is what this is about. When I'm lean, I'm powerful. And when I'm all, eat too many Triscuits, it's not so much. So I do think getting the ketones up to like 0.9 or 1.0, I'm not up in the 2s like I guess elite athletes get to 2s or 3s. I'm not there. I'm not even sure if I could get there, but I do know if I track at 0.3 on a day, I feel weighted down, I feel slow. And when I'm up above a 1.0, I'm peppy.
Yeah.
It's quite personal to also, if you know your numbers and you feel good about it, then it's good to keep that number in order and that balance. And it's a little different for everyone. So it's good to first figure out where you are and what the results are and how to get there. And then you have your blueprint for the future.
Yeah.
And it seems that you found yours, which works well, and that is great to hear, because that, of course, the metabolism, the nutrition is also very important on top of all the good things you already do with your training. So
Well, I have a weird thing. So I have been an intermittent faster my whole life by mistake.
Hmm.
Because I found at a young age that if I ate breakfast or lunch, I just wanted to go to bed.
Right.
And so by the time I was 16 years old, I didn't eat breakfast or lunch. I only ate in the evenings. And my whole life, I've only eaten in the evenings.
yeah, I remember because you told me
Yeah.
when we
Yes.
started working. Yeah, yeah.
Because
So
it
what
just
is-
takes me all day to, use up the carbohydrates. It just takes all day. So like I'll go for a run this afternoon and I won't have eaten since 8 p.m. last night. Nothing.
Yeah, but that only works if you have a consistent ketones basis. I mean, because if it's not there, and we know of course with all the experiences we have, then you must have something to eat in a shorter period of time. But what you're saying basically is by coincidence you are into intermittent fasting, which probably, because we're not doctors, but probably means that you have developed a constant state of ketones in your body, let's say around 1 milligram per deciliter, something like that. And of course that's a great energy supply, a very constant, great, reliable energy supply, which makes you feel like it.
I totally agree. The more that you can be a fat adjusted runner, the more efficient you will be. Because I live in a rural area, the nearest running club is an hour away, and I just, I've done it a few times, but it's a lot of effort to go out with them. And on a typical day, I just can't do it. I can do it once a month. So they're never going to hold me accountable. But you guys are holding me accountable. And so having someone who's holding you accountable matters. I think you have to have that if you're going to try to reach goals. And again, these are individual goals. I'm not trying to be an elite runner. I'm just trying to do my best, because I do think, I think it's the Dylan Thomas poem is, the dying of the light. I'm going down fighting is what I'm doing. So I figure I might as well have somebody who's, making me do it. And I know I do better, even in the gym when I have the trainer. You decided that you should challenge the current and the historical belief system of the run coaching, marathon run coaching industry. And I am a deep believer that groupthink knowledge is fundamentally flawed, that pretty much every system that we have can be improved upon. And I never believed what they were preaching. I knew it was wrong. I could just tell. But I didn't know what the solution was. You found it.
Oh, yeah.
The 9-mile marathon thing totally makes sense. And I'm living proof. I've never run a 20-mile run ever. I ran over 13 miles. And I've run 3 marathons, having never run over 13 miles, in which the massive amount of my training are 9-mile runs and going to the track. The fact that we have regular updates on the Zoom means that we can keep it individualized and that we can process improve.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in that, because it changes every couple of weeks. What you have next needs to be modified, as you improve, as you're modifying, as you're getting better. So I'm totally psyched. I'm 65 years old. I've been running for 7 years, and I am now a better runner today than I have been in those 7 years. I can continue to improve, I think, for several more years before I plateau. You two guys are on your way down.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
I'm getting better.
We say always, like, if you're above 60 and you plateau, that means progress.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. But
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I can
No,
keep
I
getting
know.
better.
Yeah.
I got more in me. So we'll see what that means. We don't know yet.
Last thing you said, the last takeaway, that you as a student always sharing good information with us because you're really up to date. You know what you're doing. You're informing us very well. That is really working well for us as coaches to give you the right feedback and to make a new plan. Because you're really on it and do everything to the T. So then we can adjust here and there. And that is really helpful. And then you see the progress that you are able to make.
Yeah. Yeah. I like being analytical. And
I know.
You analyze my stuff and tweak my plan to optimize it. Like you said, Boz, now we're doing a bunch of running at 137 beats a minute.
Yeah, we have to.
I wouldn't have known what to do without the feedback from you guys. If you're an age-based runner and you're trying to get better, I think the 9-mile centathon approach, it should work for almost everybody. I'll tell you what, I spent my 30s and 40s and 50s getting out of bed and being creaky and everything hurt, and I always felt in pain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any pain at all today.
Wow.
I get out of bed, I'm loose, I'm nimble. I don't hurt during the day. I'm flexible, I can move. And I think a big part of that is being strong. And the plyos just make you powerful. They make you leap and you can jump. I'm definitely a believer in rotating.
Yeah.
Doing lots of different things, being athletic.
Yes.
Just being a good athlete. Mm-hmm. Being a powerful, strong, lean, fit athlete. And if you're that, you can be a good marathoner.
Absolutely.
And certainly as we age, I know that if I take 3 days off, all my muscles just turn into blubber. I gotta be on it. But if I'm on it, I'm fit.
I totally agree, Rob. I really, one day of recovery is enough for us. But it's not for everyone, but be careful. But yeah, I totally agree. I feel so much better when I keep training. But I like the idea, what you suggest and what we do with our program, the routine of doing something different every day, not the same over and over again.
Cool.
All right.
I'm sure
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.